please welcome Blair Jenkins.
Well, good afternoon, conference, and thank you very much for that warm welcome, and thank you, Derek, for your very kind words of introduction. It's a great pleasure to be here talking to you today, and it's a matter also of great pride. It's a great privilege for me to be speaking to you in this role as Chief Executive of Yes Scotland, the campaign that will deliver victory in the referendum in 2014. Now, I'm conscious that I'm talking to you in the slot that's immediately prior to lunchtime, and I think one obligation you always have as the speaker who is on just before lunchtime is not to outstay your welcome. Now, I did say to the conference organisers that I would much rather have spoken at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and they told me that slot was already taken. Now, I want to speak to you about three things mainly today. I want to tell you what I've been doing in the last 3 months since taking over this job to shape up, to gear up the campaign of scale and quality that we need. I want to talk to you a bit about why I believe that Yes Scotland will be the winning campaign in 2014. And then I'd like to talk to you a little to speak a bit about what you can do collectively and individually as members of the Scottish National Party to bring about the outcome that we all want. But before I do any of these things, there's one very important thing I do want to say. And that is to say, as Chief Executive of Yes Scotland, on behalf of everybody in Scotland who supports an independent Scotland, I want to say thank you to the Scottish National Party for delivering this referendum. As you're aware, there is a large and growing number of people now who are pro-independence and who want to be part of this campaign, but we do understand that we do owe you that debt of gratitude. So one of the first things I did on taking over the new job, this very important role 3 months ago, was to start to put together the team I felt would be required to do the job. And I think we've already put in place the beginnings of what will be an excellent campaign team. Some first-class people of talent and ability and commitment. And it was noticeable that we had a lot of applications for jobs, we're still getting them. And more or less everyone who talks to us says the same thing. They say, I've got to be involved, I just can't not be involved in this campaign, it's so important to me. So we put together, I think, an outstanding team. Some of them will be names that are known to you, some of them will be new names, but I assure you they do have the passion and the commitment to deliver victory. The other thing we've been doing in the last couple of months is putting together the advisory board for Yes Scotland. This is very important because that board reflects the diversity, the strength of the independence movement. It has people from several different political parties, it has people from no political background, it has people reflecting the different parts and sectors of Scottish life. Now, I'm particularly delighted that as chair of that advisory board, we have Dennis Canavan. Now, Dennis, I know, will be known to very many people in this hall. He is, of course, a very able and experienced politician. He is also a man of great character, a man of independence. He is in nobody's pocket. Dennis, I think, is not only a great asset to this campaign, I think Dennis Canavan is a credit to his country. I'm also, of course, delighted to have on our advisory board the Yes Minister herself. Nicola Sturgeon, fresh from what I think is a remarkably successful triumph in the negotiation of the referendum deal, the Edinburgh Agreement. Now, I mean, I congratulate Nicola and I congratulate the First Minister on the fantastic outcome they achieved. I was personally delighted that one of the things we managed to preserve in that agreement was the vote for 16 and 17-year-olds in this referendum. I think it's a hugely important point of principle that 16 and 17-year-olds get the vote. Now, I actually think that the No campaign are going to have a huge problem when it comes to engaging with 16 and 17-year-olds. I mean, you can imagine the conversation. Hello, we're the No campaign. Remember us, we're the people who tried to stop you having a say in the future of your country. We are gathering support from all corners of Scottish life, from all political traditions and from all points on the political spectrum. I think you could say that one of the things that is happening, and you'll be as aware of this as I am, is that your party, the National Party of Scotland, is now part of something even bigger and broader, that national movement, that national groundswell towards independence for Scotland. I was particularly pleased recently when the Scottish Green Party decided to become part of the campaign. I do believe the Greens will be hugely important for us over the next 2 years. Another group, I think, a very important development are Labour for Independence, that group that's formed within the Labour Party in Scotland. Now, the next political conference I'll be speaking to after this one is in fact the first conference of Labour for Independence. It's being held in Glasgow next month. I think we should all wish them well. It's a fantastically positive development. We've also seen the emergence from within the Liberal Democrat parties of significant individuals who've declared their support for independence, notably Dame Judy Steele and others as well. I think this is very important. Now, it comes in spite of what you might call discouragement from the leadership of the Liberal Democrat Party in Scotland. You may have heard, you may have noticed that the Lib Dems banned Yes Scotland from having a stall at their party conference. As party members themselves were quick to point out, this looked neither liberal nor democratic. So you are going to find yourself over the next 2 years dealing with all these new friends that you have now, these new faces who've suddenly joined the independence cause. And I hope you will make them all feel welcome. And I suppose, as Derek was saying, I guess I typify that movement myself. I've no history of involvement in any political party. I've never been part of a political campaign or any form of political activity of that kind. But I did know that this was a campaign I had to be part of. Now, in my career to date, the things I've campaigned for, the things I'm known for campaigning for, are better journalism and better broadcasting. But now I am delighted to be campaigning for a better Scotland. I knew by the start of this year that I couldn't sit on the fence, I couldn't bite my tongue, whatever metaphor you care to use, for the next 2 years and not be part of this. This is a time to stand up and to be counted. And it's been fascinating in the last couple of months. I've had people get in touch with me from every area of my life and from all through my life. People I haven't seen since school days in Elgin, people I worked with in newspapers, people I worked with in broadcasting. And they've all, virtually all of them, got in touch to say, so glad you're doing this, so glad that you're campaigning for independence, and they tend also to say, we agree with you, or we're almost there, almost at the point of agreeing with you. So I take enormous comfort and encouragement from what people are saying to me around Scotland about this campaign. Now, it's a very important thing to say about Yes Scotland that we are not ourselves a policy-making group. Yes Scotland is about the core principle of supporting independence. We are not about making policies ourselves. All we ask of people, the only admission ticket, the only price of entry, is you support that core principle, that the best people to take decisions about the future of Scotland are the people of Scotland themselves. This is a cause, I believe, that transcends party politics, and in many ways it represents a new form of politics, I think. I do believe, though, that we can see beginning to emerge a vision of what an independent Scotland would be and could be like. I think that we're beginning to see a definite distinction between the way the UK is evolving and the way I think the people of Scotland would wish to travel. We know what the direction of the UK is and has been for several years now. The UK has become one of the most unfair and unequal societies in the developed world. Now that has happened not as an act of God, but as an act of policy. I believe that the people of Scotland want to take a different direction. And in 2 years' time, we reach a fork in the road where the choice of direction is clear. And I believe the people of Scotland will choose independence. So what kind of country do we want? What kind of country do we aspire to? I think people in Scotland want a country where we all look out for one another and where our sense of duty and responsibility towards other people does not begin and end at our own front door. I think we want an inclusive society where communities and individuals are not marginalised and left behind. A country where access to higher education does not depend upon the wealth of your parents. A country where your health and your lifespan does not depend upon where you were born and where you live. A country where we invest in our people and we invest in our society, where old age is not a time of loneliness and fear, because there is care and there is provision. Now, I believe that Scotland is a country that values enterprise and entrepreneurs and business. But I think people in Scotland who run businesses, who give us that growth we need, also buy into that collective view, that we are stronger together and as a society we value one another, we look out for one another. One of the first things we did when I started in Yes Scotland was to look for a headquarters. We looked around Glasgow, which I felt was the right place to be. I said, let's be in the heart of Scotland's biggest city. Let's be visible, let's be accessible. Let's know that people can come and talk to us, can come through the door and speak to us. And it seemed to me that, as we looked around, it was more than coincidence that the place that best suited our needs was on Hope Street. Because, Conference, if Yes is based on anything, it is based on hope. Now, by the same token, I was assuming that the No campaign were anxiously looking around for a pessimism place. But, Conference, I have to tell you that this week it got even worse. I think we're going to have to relocate them. This week they moved from Pessimism Place to Paranoia Place. I mean, I've been doing a lot of radio and television appearances and interviews and so on this week, and it's just become clear how negative their message is. I mean, the No narrative seems to be that the rest of the world, every other country, every international institution is going to react in an irrational and hostile way to a newly independent Scotland. Why on earth should we believe that would be the case? I think there's absolutely nothing to underpin that. Now, I mean, if we all went around in our private lives in that way, assuming that the world was against us, I mean, none of us would ever leave home in the morning. So, on the evidence so far, the No campaign is exactly that. No vision, no ambition. The only thing holding them together is the desire to hold Scotland back. I was speaking to a hall like this in Edinburgh a couple of months ago. It was a hall full of students in that case. And one of the things I asked them to imagine, just as a way of coming to the debate with a fresh perspective, was to imagine what this campaign would be like if Scotland had remained independent and the vote we were having in 2 years' time was instead on whether or not we should join the Union. And what I asked them to do was to imagine the kind of proposal that the pro-union campaign might be putting forward in those circumstances. In my view, Conference, it would be an impossible campaign to run. Let's just think about it. Your main parliament will move hundreds of miles away, and your MPs will be in a tiny minority. You'll get a government you didn't vote for. All of your oil and gas revenues will be handed over to the Treasury in London. The biggest nuclear weapons facility in Western Europe will be built on the River Clyde, 30 miles from your largest city. You will be joining a country whose health and education services are rapidly being privatised. Now and again, you'll get dragged into an illegal foreign war. An austerity budget will be imposed from London, cutting jobs and threatening vital public services. The financial regulation system will be so weak and so lax that your whole economy will be brought to the brink of collapse. And then, finally, the most weak and vulnerable in your society, instead of getting the protection and support they deserve, will instead be interrogated and humiliated in an effort to get them off the meagre levels of support to which they are entitled. Conference, I do have to ask you, who on earth in Scotland would vote for that package? Who would vote for that union? Yes, Scotland. Yes, Scotland is going to be very much a grassroots campaign, a groundswell campaign right around the country. There will be yes groups in every local authority area. We've already set up local groups in many parts of the country, and that will be complete by the end of the year. I intend that we will be campaigning in every street, in every community. If I have my way, my vision is that every household in Scotland will have contact with the Yes Scotland campaign over the next 2 years. We will engage people in conversation about why independence is the right thing for this country. I do also intend that what we will do is help from the centre and not control from the centre. It's very important that local campaigns you know better than I what works in your area, and as I say, we will offer help, but it's for you to work out what works best in your area. Finally, Conference, let me move on to the third thing I said I'd talk about, which is what you can do to help us collectively and individually. On the day I got this job, people started getting in touch with me, by phone, by email and text and so on, and saying, right now, what can I do? What's the most effective thing I can do to help the Yes campaign? And what I said on that day, and what I would repeat again today, is the best thing that each of us can do who already intends to vote yes for independence is to persuade just one other person in the next 2 years. And the way I look at it is this. On any opinion poll, and frankly, I don't pay much attention to the polls right now. I don't think they're telling us very much at this stage. But on any opinion poll, statistically, it is true that if everyone who is already intending to vote yes can persuade just one other person, then we win. Now, we all have circles of influence. We have family, friends, people we work with, the people we meet in the pub, the people we go to the football with, or we see at the hairdressers. In that circle, you're bound to know at least one person who at this stage is not intending to vote yes. So your job over the next 2 years is to persuade just one other person. I think we can do that. Now, for those of you who think you can do even more than that, Yes Scotland will be running what we call our ambassador programme. The aim here is to train 10,000 people, at least 10,000 people, between now and the referendum in the techniques and the skills of persuading large numbers of people, large groups of people, to vote yes for independence. If people at the conference this weekend would like to be part of the ambassador programme, get in touch with us and let us know. That programme is gearing up even now. We will roll it out very quickly next year, and I think it will be one of the keys towards delivering a majority in 2014. The final thing, the last thing I would say at this point I would ask you to do as members of the Scottish National Party is to remind you to welcome all those new faces. Please welcome the 16 and 17-year-olds. Welcome the people from the Scottish Green Party, the Scottish Socialist Party, the people from Labour for Independence, the people from the Liberal Democrats, and there will even be one or two Conservatives, I do assure you, who will be on our side of the campaign. This is a very big tent, this is a very broad church, and that's how we win. It's true also that you will be standing alongside and campaigning alongside people who've not been on your side in previous elections and by-elections and so on. But please make them very welcome. We want as many votes as we can in 2014. So delegates, what I would say is thank you for listening to me today. I believe this is an exciting time. It's a very inspiring time for all of us who believe in independence for Scotland. We are the first and the only generation of Scots to have this opportunity. I think that's a remarkable thing. We will get that opportunity to vote for self-determination, to vote to have an independent future. What I can guarantee you is that the Yes Scotland campaign will do three things for the people of Scotland. We will give them the information that they need, we will give them the debate they deserve, and we will give them the outcome they desire. Conference, if ever there was a cause, this is our cause. If ever there was a campaign, this is our campaign. And if ever there was a year, then 2014 will be our year. 2014 in Scotland will be the year of yes. Thank you very much.